good deal of stand-up comedy, so I was used to eating shit. So it wasn't so bad, you know? Seriously, I was like, this ain't so bad. They can't tell it's me fucking. I think it's the other guy. You know, but now, I mean, it's really, I have a great deal of fun doing it. I've really adjusted and learned to really love live performing. It's a little treacherous and scary, but it's really worth it. It's so much fun. And our crowds, the Death Clock crowds, are the best crowds I've seen in heavy metal. Seriously, like seriously. You know, playing with Jean is like the ultimate thing. They go, how do you do this? Yeah, I go, well, get the best drummer in the world and play with them, and things will start kind of coming together, you know? So yeah, so big round of applause for Jean Hoglan.
When you tie things back into Army of the Doomstar, how does your approach change when you're writing music that is intended to be played for a live show versus something that's to then live in a larger, more cinematic context?
That's a good question. I don't know if there's one way to do that, but here's how the show works. So I had probably a hunk of songs that I thought, okay, these can be Death Clock songs, and we'll kind of churn through them in the first season or so. And then at some point I'm out of songs, so I have Death Clock does this is the action that takes place, music to be decided later. And then at some point for animation, they go, well, we need to start cutting, an animatic together, so we need to get something. So I'll go, okay, and now I would just sit there and go, what was the tempo of the last song? It was slow, this one's fast. I'll go, or it's medium. So I just do that, and I go, okay, I'll riff something along these lines, and whatever, I'm not committing to the riff, I'm not committing to any notes or anything like that. I'm committing to the amount of time going by, and maybe that tempo, right? And I'd say,
so many of those animatics we were working, you would delivering them as even in the mix, coming in and being like, all right, here we go. Finally got the final song.
Exactly. So I mean, I had to record very, very quickly, and figure out how to do that stuff. But there'd be just kind of like to be written. TBW would be like show up in a lot of scripts, and the same thing happened with Army of the Doomstar, because in the story of Army of the Doomstar, Death Clock has to write the song of salvation, which is the song that may or may not save the world, right? And so they're gonna try to write that song. They may not write the right song first. So they may write the wrong song first. So I have two songs I need to write. I need to write the wrong song, I need to write the right song. And those would be two songs that would be really important. So how do I do that? And I go, I don't know, TBW. And that's in the script. And I go, here's 800 versions of what I think SOS, the Song of Salvation, is, and here's 800 versions of what I think, because either one would work. What is this feeling? So it's easier to write music when I know what the intention behind it is. So right? So a song that's like the song, what is that song? How does it sound? What is the feeling I'm looking for? Well, I'm looking for some people feeling like they may go into battle and they may die. What is that kind of triumphant but terrified feeling? What does that sound like? And I go, I don't know. And I sit there in my little studio, and it's almost like going to Las Vegas at the slot machine. You go, boing, and you go, whoa, whoa, whoa. An apple, an orange, a shoe. Oh shit, that's not even good. And you go, boing, and you go, an apple, a shoe, an apple. Ooh, I can work with two apples. And that's how it would work. I'd go, okay, I can turn that shoe into an apple, and that's how it kept on working. And so it's seriously that plus the fear of missing a deadline is enough to get you going. So I wrote a lot of music with this show, but it's because of the fear of missing a deadline and fucking up the entire show and stopping production was followed me along. So it was fear that drove me to that.
I'm just saying, for the feature, it's like, I'm sorry, just watching him script, obviously participating, throwing stuff back and forth over the rings, but then to not only be doing the songs, the voices, and the soundtrack, and then to go to your brother's house and watch him putting the chemicals in the little paint in the tank to make the your idea flash kind of background clouds and stuff. I mean, it's really amazing how handcrafted it is, but from top to bottom, and then the last thing I'll just say is, he's incredibly more disciplined than I am. As they say in screenwriting, kill your babies. He just ruthlessly, takes the radio play from where it was and just tightens it up because he knows where it has to be. And so you're watching stuff that was hilarious just kind of get tossed.
comedy writing, though. You have to kill your babies. You just have to go, I'm gonna make more babies.
Well, try to.
Yeah.
You just have to trust yourself that you're a good baby maker. And murderer.
This sounds like a bizarre Ponzi scheme, but I'm
It's
really...
comedy writing. Comedy writing 101. Murder your babies.
By the way, I want to say that, I want to take a moment to say, because you were talking about Mr. Show. Mr. Show is a huge inspiration for Metalocalypse.
Yeah!
I would be blown away by the virtuosity of Brian and the team and Bob and David. And I couldn't believe how masterfully they would link this whole tapestry together. And that was, I was like, people are, like, I see comedy and I see lazy comedy out there. Comedy that's not as exciting, that's not as funny. Like, I think I heard that take on that joke before. I heard this and I heard that. And Brian's the kind of guy that I know only wants to do brand new, fresh stuff that he hasn't heard. And that's why his comedy's so great.
I'll be comedy police though. I'll go like Simpsons did it. Like I'm that guy. And then but what I learned from Bob really early on is you can't just shoot things down. You have to have a better take. Like you can go like it's not constructive to go that sucks, and then just sit there. I don't have any idea on how to make it not suck. So just let it suck. You have to go, this sucks, but what if you did this? And I learned that, like Bob always, like, the shittiest idea, he'd let it breathe. He'd let it, or go, all right, well, I don't get it, but what do you like about that? What made you bring that to me today? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
That's good.
it made you a better writer because you would go in more prepared each time, because you're like, I don't want to get yelled at by Dad. I feel like shit all lunch. You know? So go in and pitch a thing and then already have a plan B too. Like go when the room looks at you and goes, that sucks. So, or I can do this, and then it's hilarious.
And you know, that's the music, and the fact that it's, you say comedy writing, but it's also so much functioning as drama, obviously.
Well, it's probably just writing.
Yeah, so, but, yeah, and I know you're not saying it dismissively, it's like, it's an incredibly meaningful thing to say comedy writing, but it's also so weird to see how, and it's not weird at all, but like I'm so involved in these characters and so worried about Murderface. No spoilers because the movie's screening later tonight, but you know,
Oh, yeah.
at the very end, like really kind of hang on the edge of your seat. But yes, first and foremost, it's fucking hilarious.
And by the way, if you didn't know, you can watch the movie for free later tonight with Brendon right here at Comic-Con. It's going to be at 10:30 p.m. at the Marriott Grand Ballroom 5 at the Marriott Marquis, so be there. Cancel your other plans. I promise you they're not as good as this. Speaking of guest stars in unexpected places, I want to talk about some of the guest stars you've had on the show over the years. Is there someone who came in and just sort of like really surprised you?
You know, I get that question often, and the thing that I would, okay, first of all, I thought, when this show comes out, people are going to think, who's this pipsqueak dipshit? Taking my medal away, making fun of it, doing all this stuff, right? I figured like how the most pissed off heavy metal fan would probably think about this show. And I thought, this is what I'm going to be up against. It's going to be me when I'm like 14, pouting, like frowny face, like staring at the back and I'm like, fuck you. Like that's who I think is, that's who I'm up against. I mean, up against me and young Brian Posehn, holding his arms frowning. Fuck you, you know? So I'm thinking about all that stuff, and I thought, well, then I just kept on thinking, King Diamond can do any voice. King Diamond can do a million voices on a record. King Diamond, oh, he just did that Probot album with Dave Grohl. I wonder if he'd be open to stuff. He's gotta be open to stuff. And I thought, well, King Diamond, and then someone else goes, hey, I know that Metallica's looking for voices, to do cartoon voices. And I was like, oh, I bet we could trick Metallica into vouching for us by being on the show. Not really, they were very up for it. So James and Kirk Hammett were like, they were up for the, they were interested in doing voices. So we went all the way to HQ. It was like in some kind of monster and everything, and we went and recorded those guys. It was really cool, it was really fun, and I thought, let's let the heavy metal people be in on the joke, let's ask them to participate with us, and let's involve everybody, because they've all got senses of humor. I went to music school, musicians have senses of humor, they don't always get to display them all the time, but let's involve everybody that we can.
Didn't we bring Scotty Ian in for ideas once?
Oh yeah, we brought in Scotty in to come and to
tell us what it's like to be in a thrash band and
tell us some
he
stories.
told us some crazy
He did it
stories.
too, I think. Yeah.
Same with me.
Yeah.
So we were like, let's just educate the writers. Let's educate ourselves. If someone's got a good story to tell, let's listen to it. So basically what would happen is we'd be in production in LA, and we would whoever was touring through the town at some point, we'd try to get them on a day off or in between sound check and their show to come over and do some voices. So we'd get Mastodon, we'd get guys from Enslaved, we'd get Cannibal Corpse, the fucking Cannibal Corpse came in. So all that, so it just kept on happening. So we go, do you have time for me to do that? And then King Diamond, I called him, I got his number from Metallica's people, and I go, does he know I'm calling? He goes, yes, he does. And I go, well, how do I address him? Really interesting. It's like, how do I address King Diamond? The phone's already ringing. How do I? And then somebody answered the phone. Hello. and I said, is King Diamond there? He's like, yes, 1 moment, please. And so yeah, King Diamond came on the phone. He was the coolest guy in the world. He was amazing. And I said to him, I go, dude, I'm not, our show is so cheap. I was like, we don't have the budget for me to fly out or to fly you out. Can you go and record yourself? He's like, absolutely. And he did. And I was like, you tell me if it's any good, and I'll put it on the show. Whatever it is that you think, you're King Diamond, you've been around the block, you do it. You're the producer of King Diamond. So he did it, and it was all great. Of course, so yeah, so King Diamond. I know Michael Amott from Arch Enemy had. I say this all the time, but he had such a great speaking voice. He had was very low and on the road. He had Swedish, British kind of accent. I was like, this guy is an orator. He's a speaker. He can do. Everyone out there is multi-talented. Just because they play guitar or whatever doesn't mean they can't also be actors and all this stuff. So that's how I feel about musicians. But I also grew up a musician who learned how to do comedy afterwards. So I based it on that. You can probably do anything if you want to. So over and over again, I'm reminded by how fun and participatory. Some people you have to kind of get them into a feeling of, hey, it's okay to feel stupid doing this. Once you start feeling stupid, you're on the right track. Okay, come on, let's keep going. Let's do it again. So that kind of stuff would happen. And
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of fun and participatory, we're going to open things up to Q&A. So if you have questions, please line up in the orderly microphone. Yeah. We've been percolating all panel. All right. Hello there. What is your name and what is your question?
Hi, I'm Alex from St. John, Indiana. I've been a fan for 18 years since I was in middle school. But my question is, what inspired the idea to make the final episode of the show a musical? And was that kind of intended to be the end, or did you always plan to do something like Army of the Doomstar? It's just a matter of when.
Well, you're talking about the Doomstar Requiem,
yes.
Which is, okay, so the Doomstar Requiem is a 1 hour long rock opera special with no speaking, only singing. And that was another, just let's fuck with the format again. We did half hours, we did quarter hours, let's do an hour long rock opera special. After that is Army of the Doomstar, and that's the intention, the final kind of iteration of the show. So that was the idea, and I didn't mean to leave it, I didn't mean for it to be left as a 1 hour long rock opera special. It's just that they weren't doing it anymore at the time. So something happened, something switched around 2019, and all of a sudden they're like, do you want to do this project that you've been talking about? And I said, yeah, sure, absolutely. So it wasn't intended to be the final thing because we left it all on a cliffhanger with Birdface's arm getting all screwy and stuff. So that was the intention. Let's keep going though. Thank you very much for your question. Yeah.
Hello there.
Hi, I'm Max. I'm from Arizona. I recently just finished my first year of animation school, and I feel like I have all these stories, but I feel like I have all this internal that's never good enough. So how did you push back that fear of just thinking whatever you make is kind of bad, and just finally put it out there?
Well, I think it's good to to know when something's not so great, to have that actually real feeling of, okay, I don't think this is good enough. I think I can do better than that. But I also think it's good to have kind of an idiot's brain where you're so stupid you don't know, and you want to just try anything like a kid would, just try anything. And that's what gets you up on stage. That's what gets you playing guitar in front of people. That's what gets you animating.
Blind confidence goes a long way.
It really is, just being
There's people that have built entire careers on blind confidence.
Yeah, be arrogant and stupid, and it really pays off.
But every person
I'm gonna just move my bags a little bit.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just keep running. Just do it.
I keep thinking about like the Bible player had a couple different characters. One is the manager of you. In order to get the you working, you kind of have to be nice to that person. So don't forget to be nice to that person.
Yeah.
Get them some ice cream every once in a while. Be cool to them. Tell them they're nice. You're doing a good job. You put a great outfit together today. All that stuff. And then also go, but you know what? Let's work on this a little bit. I bet we could do it together if we work hard enough. That's why I'm only saying because there's 8 people in my head. So yeah. So I hope that helps. All right. Let's keep the line moving. We don't have a lot of time. Let's keep going. Thank you very much. There you go. You got it.
So I've been doing art basically my entire life, and I just wanted to know, how do you network to get to where you are, to be on Adult Swim, just to get anywhere, and well, I have another question after you answer this one, but
I don't know the right answer to that one. I know I took my own route, which is that I went to music school, and while I was in music school, I started getting excited about comedy. And I knew at music school that there'd be a million billion other guitar players that could play as well as I could. And it's hard to have a personality on the instrument that just sticks through. Just like with art, it's hard to have your own personality with your drawing style, right? But in comedy and in writing, I knew that there's only me that's me, and if I can commit to being myself, there's no one in competition for me and my life and my experiences. So the more that you draw on your own personal experiences, the better off I think you are. So the more you look inward, what do you think, Andy?
Yeah, the more unique you are, find your voice, and then you just gotta get it out there by any means necessary. That's great.
At the same time, stand up for me, going to where people were, going into a room of this size people and trying to attempt anything will teach you a great lesson about yourself. And it'll also teach you at that crossroads, when it doesn't go well, where will you be? Can your coach inside of your head tell you that it's not gonna be so bad? You can get back out there and fix all this stuff. Nobody gives a shit about whether you fail or succeed. Nobody gives a fuck, except for you. And if you forget that, you can keep going. You can keep going. So it's your job to fail. It's your job to make yourself look like an asshole. It's okay. No one gives a shit. Really, really, really. So yeah.
Hell yeah. Very good.
You asked the question. It's great. Okay.
and then is that, do you listen to Visual K?
Do I listen to Visual K?
It's like Japanese metal.
No, but I'll check it out. Okay.
Deer and Gray.
They're great. You like them?
No,
Okay.
Deer and Gray.
Deer and Gray. Oh, Deer and Gray. I know
Heard of
Deer and
that,
Gray.
yeah.
They used to be
Yeah.
Visual K.
Is that the same people? Okay, yeah, I know Deer and Gray. Yeah. Okay. That's cool. That's crazy stuff. I like that. Yeah. Very dramatic. Yeah. How you doing?
Hi, how's it going? I've had the honor of meeting Jean and Brendon twice in Nashville. I wore the
awesome.
Pizza Cat shirt. I don't know if you remember that, but yeah, same picture.
Good to see you again.
Yeah. It's only been a couple months, but so this question is for Brian. Farting ear jokes, double platinum in my iPod. If you could, with your comedy genius and musical love of metal, if you guys could put together a Weird Al metal album,
We
what
did.
song-
We did.
We did an album called Posting Grandpa Metal, and we put it out during COVID, and we couldn't play because we couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
So
it's really funny, and Scotty.
we fooled a couple, but anybody who likes comedy and metal, I like what I did, but I called all of my friends in. He helped out, write a bunch of songs. Scotty and Joe Truman from Fall Out Boy, we all wrote stuff together, and then we got, Gary from Exodus, and Slayer. We had Jill Janis
Oh, yeah.
from Huntress, killed it. She was amazing. I got guys from Steel Panther. I got Sousa and Chuck Billy to sing like, dumb shit.
Yeah. It's really fun. Check it out. Grandpa.
Kim Thale did a solo, like solo.
Yeah, Kim Thale did solo. That's awesome. Awesome, yeah. How you doing? Thank you.
When you write music, like, obviously you're masterminding that you have a gene in mind for the drum parts, or like scenarios, whoever's playing with you, right? Or sometimes you kind of fuck with them. Okay, I'm going to write something the gene will find.
I think about Jean all the time. In fact, there's a drum kit. Yeah. But there's a drum kit that I write with that is Jean's drum kit and a lot of his patterns. And so I usually I'll grab like some of his, when I'm writing music for a riff, I'll take kind of one of the more like probably just a lot of kicks and the snares in the right place. And I'll take that and I'll start manipulating that to the riff that I have in mind. So I'm always thinking about, and then I'll go, Gene, is this too many kicks? Is this too few? Can we crank it up? And like every once in a while, Gene's like, I think the tempo would sound a little cooler, a little bit faster. And I go, oh, well, that's too fast. Okay, well, hello, tendonitis for me. So yeah, so I think about him all the time. And then, he gets the demos as I send them when we're like getting ready for a project and we'll have conversations, but mostly, you have your own process. Or basically what I'll say, and this is the same thing with working with any great artist, any great writer, anybody else, is just that I start a conversation and it's your job to beat my idea with something cool. Yeah. Can you do that from a visual description of a sequence on a script? Can my storyboard artist beat that with something cooler? Can you add your own? Can I get all of your DNA in this project and swirl it all around? So it's not just from me, it's from all these different, you get all these different flecks of different concepts. It's a real collaborative idea. That's hopefully what I'm going for. So same thing goes for Gene. Here's an idea. If you think it's really cool, go for it. But if you've got a better idea or a different idea or a different take, let me hear it, please.
Brendon has always left it, in my hands, and there are so many times. Brendon is such a killer programmer, drum programmer, that he will say, if you got something better, then go for it. Many times I'm like, what you have here is great, and it's not something that a drummer might think of, since you might be thinking of something from a non-drum standpoint. It comes out even cooler when a non-drummer writes something really cool from the ground up. So. I've said this before with other projects. It gives Brendon what he's looking for on the drums, whatever his vision is, and it also makes me look like a genius because there's some drums that are getting written that I didn't write, but I'm playing a human version of it, and I look cool, and it all just turns out really awesome in the end because it comes out with a really killer pile of metal songs. Very cool.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, Dr. Roxo! Cocaine!
Hi, I just want to ask a couple questions for some friends who can't make it. But who's the biggest douchebag of the Murderface? And would you be willing to make a Planet Piss or a Zaz Bunny with Tags album?
So wait, what was the first question?
Who's the biggest douchebag aside from Murderface?
Aside from Murderface? Well, geez, I don't know. It's a real toss-up over here. It's you can't talk to Roxo. It's a real piece of shit. But it's hard to beat. Yeah, it's hard to beat Dr. Roxo. He really is like he'd probably steal your wallet. He'd probably quiet, right? I'm not gonna do it. Yeah, but yeah. So that was the first question. So I'd say I think you're right. Dr. Roxo's up there, but Seth is a piece of shit. Pickles' his brother. There's a lot of pieces of shit all around the show. So people ask me people are so stymied when this came out after home movies. They're like, who are these fucking assholes? Everyone's pastel, everyone was nice to each other, they were quiet. Now what happened? Okay, what was part two?
Would you ever be willing to make a Zaz Bunny Taz or a Planet Piss album?
Okay, so I would say, I don't know if I would rather actually do this, but between the two of this, Zaz Bunny and Taz is way more possible. And I'll tell you why, because Planet Piss is Murderface's project. How the fuck is he gonna get that done? He's not gonna finish it. He's gonna ruin it somehow. He's gonna keep it from getting released somehow. Something bad. He can't finish it. That's the idea. He can't finish it. Planet, thank you very much, Dr. One more.
I'm Josh, the other from the national media. Please keep back down.
Good to see you again.
Keep going. But just a real quick question. My favorite part of Metalocalypse is definitely that ultimately the funniest thing is the subverting expectation that they're all billionaire dipshits.
Yes.
So I was wondering, you were talking about what is you talked about operating for the largest act in the world. Was that obvious from the beginning? Like, oh, of course they're billionaire dipshits, or did you work through the process and be like, oh, they're billionaire dipshits?
Well, if they're they had to be. This is the whole idea that was happening at the time. In 2000, let's go back 20 years to when the show came. All we had were reality shows, and they were getting more popular. So instead of hiring writers who cared about shit, they were making these reality shows about dipshit celebrities, right? Like inept people who didn't know what time it was, what day it was, how do I use a doorknob, all that shit. They didn't know. So I was pissed off. So I think in order to make a comedy show, you have to be a little bit pissed off at something, right? Same with heavy metal. You have to be pissed off at something. So I was pissed off at that, and I thought, what if one of these kind of why are we watching these assholes? Why just flail through their day, be late for shit, and that's it? That's the reality show, right? And then why can't what if the Kardashians were a death metal band? And that's kind of where we started. But we're kind of lampooning something, but we get to kind of go, oh, but heavy metal, right? Metal's cool. So that was the idea. They had to be gigantic billionaires. They had to be, the 7th largest economy. It costs $1 trillion to get them to play. That's a monetary notion that doesn't exist. So yeah, it's too much money. So that was the idea of the whole thing: is they are gigantic, they're huge, they're also cheap, and they're also they don't want to spend their own money for anything, and they're crazy idiots. There's a lot going on with those idiots, but I hope that answers your question. I think that's the last question.
Thank you, man. Y'all are always
Beautiful.
Thanks to Marriott Grand Ballroom, finds the Marriott Marquis. And if you want to win a Death Clock guitar, we're giving away one on Nerdist.com. Check out our socials for that. Keep your eyes peeled. And one more time, give it up for our incredible